Today on Duties and Blogs.
Today we have a classic case of the chameleon versus the traditional woman.
The topic again is why are so many women afraid of change?
So yeah, she's Christian, Mexican, grew up in the States.
All right.
Just trying to put that out there.
But Western women are very unhappy. No matter how they may act like they're happy, they're really not happy. And Eastern men see it. They can see Western women. They can see how unhappy they are with, they got all their liberation and so on, but they're very unhappy.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Today we have a classic case of the chameleon versus the traditional woman. Shout out to Let's Talk with Lapeef. And it shows exactly why these older women, the ones in their late 30s pushing 40, why they are single. And I support Black love, but this is also a great example of why brothers are having to go outside of our culture to find more traditional women. Now, let's be clear. This behavior is not the fault of the men. These modern women, they are raised to be combative, uncooperative, and just plain out of order. So let's go ahead and get into it. You have a non-Black Muslim woman who's 27 years old, raised with a traditional family from the East, the only married woman on the panel. So the first clip is her first appearance on the show, where they talked about what could women from our culture learn from other cultures in order to maintain relationships and even increase marriage rates. But instead of listening, the older lady on the show, who was unmarried and also classified as a baby mama, kept arguing with her instead.
The topic again is why are so many women afraid of change?
She did, bro. She did. But it
Classified as a baby mama.
It helps you understand where people are in the conversation.
In you guys' culture, do you feel like women are afraid of change? Okay.
Add some more context, JR, what you mean by change.
Change meaning that toxic behavior, being loud and disrespectful towards men and to themselves, masculine energy.
Mm-hmm. So he's defining change as a negative thing, I guess, that what people call change seemingly is women being like the rude, obnoxious behavior that we see from women is what he's calling change in this case, right? Am I getting it? Okay. Yeah.
So those are just some of the things that I'm referring to when I say change. So here we have an issue where we feel like women have a problem holding themselves accountable or allowing other people to hold them accountable, not recognizing their mistakes.
The one in the bottom left, she's fine.
Her?
Yeah, she's fine.
She's of Mexican origin, I think. Mexican American.
You have notes on these girls?
I watched the whole show.
Okay.
So yeah, she's Christian, Mexican, grew up in the States.
All right.
Just trying to put that out there.
They are who they are, and they're going to continue to be who they are.
That was a really great question posed by Lapeef. But did anybody notice the body language from the co-host? Did anybody seem to look uncomfortable when he said that people will never change? They go back and forth. I'm going to let you look at that part again. Did anybody notice any body language here?
Yeah, women know when other women are on some, because I would have looked at this and I'm just kind of like, oh, okay. But she can see that.
Anybody uncomfortable here?
Masculine energy. So those are just some of the things that I'm referring to when I say change. So here we have an issue where we feel like women have a problem holding themselves accountable or allowing other people to hold them accountable, not recognizing their mistakes. They're trying to go back and forth with you. They are who they are, and they're going to continue to be who they are.
I don't even have to say anything. You can clearly see the people bothered by that statement because they fit into the category, and you can see who's not bothered because he is not describing them.
Right. In my culture, the women want change, but change does not come easily, and the men prefer to keep it traditional. So it's more of a tug of war in my culture. Women want to have more freedom. They want to be able to speak up and speak out more. And I think the problem is the men, they see the Western women and they don't want to see the Eastern women turn into the Western women. No
Here
offense
we
to Western.
go. Here we go. I mean, you know, it's not going to end well. She's now saying to the Western women in their face that, no offense at all, they're saying we shouldn't turn into you guys.
Okay.
Well, and by the way, shout out to Pink Book Lessons. That's where we're getting this video from. She is a red pillar, I guess, and she gives you the perspective of a woman, I guess, to these issues. I guess she says a level-headed perspective. So yeah,
Western women, but the liberation that the Western world has seen for females has brought a lot of issues that haven't been resolved yet, and they only seem to be getting worse in the West. And the East is trying to avoid having to go through.
What do you think about that before the finish? Do you think what she's saying is true?
So I've only interacted with Middle Eastern women in the context of class. Like when I was in Madrid, there were a couple of girls from Algeria and Egypt, and some from Iran. So that's the only context in which I interacted with them. So I wouldn't say I have first-hand experience with how Arabic or Middle Eastern women are, but we know a lot about their culture, mostly just from the TV and the things that are just known generally. So I think she might have a point that in their culture, there's a strong emphasis on traditional gender roles and femininity as it, as it is supposed to be done by women. Whereas in the West, they are going the opposite direction. They are looking at femininity as something that is wrong and that is a stereotype that should be broken down. So she definitely does have a point.
I like that, that touch you put on there. Your interaction with them was just like in the classroom. It was
yeah, a little bit in the classroom, a little bit somewhere else, but not enough to have a lot of notes.
Well, you are a student, I guess, if you're taking notes. But yeah, so she mentioned something interesting that also even in the Middle East, the women themselves still are not entirely in agreement with their men about basically being traditional. So, I guess because it would come off as like everyone obviously there is on board with being traditional.
Yeah.
Women are women wherever you find them.
Yeah. Also, we would be remiss to not mention that in general, there are a lot of women who are oppressed and who suffer a lot of abuse.
There's that too, exactly.
In that culture. So that's a reality that has to be acknowledged, that if a lot of things have to change in that part of the culture to make women not be oppressed. But there's a difference between women being oppressed and women being, the way that they are turning out to be when they say we don't want oppression anymore. So there's a fine line.
America, ain't it? Because they're oppressed here too.
they say they are oppressed, but that's a whole different thing. But the idea is that we want human beings in general to be free.
Okay.
What the West do right now.
That was Amira speaking right there, and she said no offense to Western women, and I have to say that I'm not offended at all. I'm a Western woman, and she's talking about the difference between the women in the West and the women in the East. I'm not in my feelings because she's talking about the Western women, and I'm a Western woman because it's true.
So
what do you think are those?
So that's Eastern versus Western.
Some of those unresolved issues that a lot of the Eastern men don't want to subject themselves to as far as the Western women that they see.
women being unhappy. So it's a huge now I know maybe a lot of people will disagree with me when I say this, but Western women are very unhappy. No matter how they may act like they're happy, they're really not happy. And Eastern men see it. They can see Western women. They can see how unhappy they are with they got all their liberation and so on, but they're very unhappy. And if you look at Eastern women, no matter how oppressed you may think they are really happy with their families. They're happy in their homes, doing what we normally do. Yeah, there's always going to be problems. There are pros and cons of each lifestyle, but in general, Eastern women are happier. We have happier attitudes. We're happier at home. We tend to wear more flowy dresses and smile, and we tend to be, I don't know, just happier women. And I think Eastern men, they are afraid to see Eastern women turn into Western women, turning into this person who's like, I gotta go to work in the morning. I'm tired. I don't want to come home and cook for you. I've been out working all day too. I don't want to deal with those kids. I don't know. Send them to daycare. They don't want to deal with having the woman turn into that. They want to have that woman happy to say, I don't want my kids to go to daycare. I want to keep them at home.
That was Amir again, and that statement was also 100% true.
They make more money than men over here. So I think that's also important too, because wealth will determine a lot of things too. So women, a lot of us have to work because our men are not making just enough money to take care of the entire family. So a lot of us are forced to work. So I think that needs to also kind of be said. Your men are able to have 4 wives because they financially can take care of all of them and they don't have to work. Which in essence would.
Man, she's even insulting her on top of that. Your men are able to have 4 women.
Well, I think this is the reason why basically we're doing this video. The statements she's making, there's a lot of assumptions I would like to pick out there. And would you like to help me do that? Because I think she did say that the men are making more money in the Middle East. That's not true.
That's not true. That's not true. Which Middle Eastern country does on average men there earn more money than in the United States?
It just doesn't add up.
No.
And then the other assumption is the more money that men make, the less likely then I guess women have to work, and then
the more likely the women will start behaving the way they should. But
start being submissive and being traditional.
American men make more money than most men in the world, yet they have women who are the wildest,
the least submissive.
Yeah. And so
in the richest country.
Yeah,
in the history of the world.
She is factually incorrect to say that men in the Middle East make more money. I think, her idea of the Middle East is Dubai. She's thinking Dubai, Yeah. But remember, Dubai is a city.
Mm-hmm.
You see, if you look in other parts of the United Arab Emirates, it's not as glamorous as the actual city. That's the only place in the Middle East that they have. What about men that are in Syria, in Palestine, in Israel? Maybe in Israel they earn a little bit, more compared to other Arabic states, but that is not true to say that men in the Middle East earn more money.
That's what's sad. That theory, because it's a theory, it's not provable by actual evidence. If men in America are not getting compliance and they're getting combativeness because of that, which I actually like the fact that she is agreeing that there is combativeness in America and there is lack of submission.
She's excusing it though.
But the reason though now is the one that she's getting wrong. If a man in America cannot get submission because he's poor, what chances do a guy in Africa and in South America have to controlling his woman?
You see, here is another thing that you notice, right? She said that it's about money. The more money, the more submission you get. But in Africa, we are from Africa.
Mm-hmm.
We know African women. African women in general are submissive. Yet they are submissive to men who earn a fraction of what American men earn. So right out of the gate, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's just gone all guns blazing in her emotion. You can even hear her voice cracking.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
angry
She's angry.
that this girl dare she says something against them.
That's why I said here we go. But the thing is, we've heard a lot of Western women voice the same opinion. It's almost like most women, they've been taught that from their upbringing, that you only submit to a man that is of a certain tax bracket. And that's the problem that you find, that okay, so if men were to say you only, because let's
You
take
only
the opposite,
provide.
you only provide to a woman that is what, let's say, whatever
Submissive.
quality we like, which is in this case submission. If a woman does not submit, you don't provide. How is that going to work? Because we are expected to provide regardless of whether the woman is submissive or not. We are expected to provide even when the ultimate act of disobedience, if I'm to call it that, or the complete act of not being submissive, which is divorce, happens. We still have to provide.
Yeah.
We still, and we
gotta
can
pay
go
that
to jail for
alimony.
it. It doesn't matter that she is not doing her duties. Your duty does not stop there. And I mean, that's the hypocrisy that we find in today's society. But like, I wish women would at least in some way give us some sort of credit for basically dealing with that.
Yeah, but she's definitely wrong. Let's hear her out though.
Yeah. I guess we have to hear her out. Oh God.
Make the women a lot happier because they don't have stress of having to work and take care of home and children as well.
Sounds familiar, huh? Sounds like your modern woman. Sounds like your feminist. Any Carrie Hilson, any level up queen. When they speak on having to have a man
she actually
with X
said
amount
this?
of money.
She did. This was a tweet that made its rounds last year. Men who provide emotional security will get a submissive woman, which is cat.
Carrie Hilson. This is the woman that they look up to.
Yeah, I don't know how long she's been married.
Carrie Hilson? Is she?
That's the
I
joke.
mean, I wanted to say that poor bastard.
And listen, I mean, ladies, we definitely like and love ladies. We love black ladies.
She's not married, obviously.
And I would just like to say this is to preface, because I know sometimes it does come off like that, but it's funny. It's almost comical how most ladies have no clue what works as far as relationships go. That she's probably 40 or close to 40.
39. Zero self-awareness.
Exactly. And she has no idea men who provide emotional security. And these buzzwords that I say that don't mean anything. If I was to ask you what is emotional security, you can't really even define it for me.
Yeah, I'll give you a theory. What happened was she got into a fight with her man because she's combative, right? She's an independent woman and she's a musician. I mean, she's kind of has money. So she feels like I don't get told what to do. So the guy was like, you know what? I'm out, right? Then she goes on her Twitter fingers, and then she wrote this as a way to release her emotions. So she is emotionally unstable herself. What is emotional security? Like, what do you want from me? Like,
you never want to feel certain types of things, I guess, is probably what she's saying. But I don't want to get into that rut. But what I want to deal with is the assumptions behind, to say a woman has to have conditions to be submissive. A submissive woman is not a submissive woman because certain conditions are met. She's naturally submissive from the get-go. I was listening to Fresh and Fit, and they had this example about this, and just saying how a man cannot come to you with feminine energy or speaking like a woman or speaking like he's is playing for the other team, and then saying I will only be masculine, or I will only
playing for
be
the other
a
team,
man.
you mean being gay?
Yeah. I was just trying to be, yeah. But and you can't say that in some ways I will act like that or I will not be masculine till certain things are met. Everyone will look at you and be like, no, saying, oh no, I'm masculine. I'm masculine. Just be submissive, then I'll be masculine. Like, no,
No.
you're supposed to be masculine, 24/7. And
Yeah. But the fact that she feels comfortable writing something like this and get a bunch of likes from other women just tells you how far we have gone down this road.
yeah. It's a better of the sexes, like the other girl was saying the other time, that we've suspended all sorts of good faith you would give to the other party when you're having a conversation. It's like men are looked at as you have to provide something, or if you're not providing anything, you're of no value to us.
Yeah, it's like this thing, happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, I have to make you happy.
The pressure. I mean, you yourself can make yourself happy.
It's terrorist activity to say that if I'm not happy, your life is going to be miserable.
Then no one else is not going to be
these
happy.
These are tactics that actual terrorists use, that until you do what we want here, there's not going to be peace. Like, what kind of a woman behaves like that?
No, it's not just women, but I guess it's toxic people. But the thing that has happened is, in our society, we've actually looked at a lot of these statements and behaviors that are abusive and borderline just unhealthy to people that need therapy and actual work on themselves. Is to say, oh, that's what women say, or it's fine because it's coming from a woman. If a man was to say something like this, everyone would have something to say about it. But for some reason, we just kind of we look over it and we just leave it like that. We're not even going to ask the question to say, okay, why would you want me to basically provide emotional security? What are you providing to me? And why do I have to start and you basically follow? Why can't it be the both of us? If we're all equal, if we're both equal.
If you turn this tweet around, you hear, you start a revolution. If you say women who are submissive will get a respectful,
we will get emotional security.
Will get emotional security from a man. Say that, and let's say, okay, she's a celebrity, right? Let's take another celebrity. Let's say, I don't know, 50 Cent. 50 Cent is kind of a goofball. People would think he's just clowning. Let's say Michael B. Jordan. One day,
they love him. They love them some Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan gets on Twitter and says, women who are submissive who get emotional security. That nigga will be cancelled from left, right, and center before the sun rises.
Oh God!
But
I like that actually. I think for this video, that's probably all we can probably cover on that. But it's a mentality of, if you have money, then you deserve submission, or I submit to the right man. To some certain extent, I understand what they mean, but what do you think, guys? Do you agree that only the rich guys, or I guess the well-off guys, are deserving of submission? If not, a woman can kind of just be obnoxious or, be combative, whichever way she likes. What do you guys think? Would you like to date a woman like that, guys? But yeah, so guys, submit your comments to the comment section, like the video, subscribe to us, get the notification bell rung, and till next time, the 2 Decent Blogs, we out.